Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and today I am I'm just going to go over a little clip from Joe Biden's town hall, CNN town hall from last night. But first, please consider donating to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The GoFundMe link is in the description box. Click that link, check out the story, check out the other donations, make a donation yourself. None of the money goes to us, it goes to charity. One of our subscribers and his wife who had medical issues, and we have a guy running for president who's actively fighting against them getting guaranteed health care and eliminating their medical debt. So until we can get rid of assholes like this, we have to use charity. And you can help out by going to Devon's Journey to Recovery GoFundMe link in the description box. Alright, so first I'm going to apologize because I took this clip from YouTube and the video and audio might not be so linked up. It's all clipped and shit. I think they wanted to get rid of the stammering from Joe Biden. All the lag time. But, so apologize for that. Also, this clip is not going to be the one where he talks about healthcare and Elizabeth Warren. I'm sure people are going to talk about that in other places. It's just, bullshit argument of how you're going to pay for this. It doesn't make any sense. You can't have Medicare for all. We need to start with a public option. Those bullshit responses we've heard 10 million times. Things that he wouldn't get away with saying if Bernie Sanders was standing right next to him. But since it's a CNN moderator, of course they get right through. So instead of going over that clip, I'm going to go over a foreign policy question about getting troops out of the Middle East. And if anyone actually watched this fucking thing, which I don't think a lot of people did, at least not a lot of people under the age of, 65 watched this, it's a horrible answer, as you might expect. So, let's play it. Here we go. No. See, now I lost my spot. God damn it. There we go.
And all that toxin I think the puppet generation has served, and it's from Mayor Andrew Jr., man. Almost
Thank
home.
you.
There we go.
President Trump's recent pullback from Syria caught many Americans by surprise and left a stain on the United States' credibility while dealing with its allies. It also...
I'm already off with the framing of the question. Made us look bad around the world. I think it's our military's being there in the first place. That might be a stain on the American credibility. Because I think most people around these foreign countries, they like normal Americans. But when they see the fucking U.S. Army roll up a fucking hill looking over their town, they're like, oh, fuck, we're done for. So, I'll replay it just...
President Trump's recent pullback from Syria caught many Americans by surprise and left a stain on the United States' credibility while dealing with its allies. It also influenced new discussion about the need to have as many troops abroad as we currently do. Do you believe that the number of troops stationed overseas is vital to supporting our national security, or do you think that we could have that same level of protection by re-strengthening American foreign policy and diplomacy, allowing these troops to return home?
Let me divide it into three sections. One, we don't need large standing armies abroad. That is not what we need, particularly in the Middle East, particularly from the Mediterranean to the Gulf. We don't need that.
Okay. We don't need that. What do we need, Joe?
What we do need special forces and small array of people that we have put together with other 69 countries we've worked with to deal with stateless terrorism and to deal with unstable areas of the world, because we can't do it all by ourselves. The other thing we should be doing is strengthening our alliances instead of embracing autocrats and dictators like this president does and poking our finger in the eye of our folks in NATO and in the Far East and Japan and those areas. We should be, in fact, embracing them. because we need them to help us deal with what the reality of the new world is, which is we're going to be dealing with unstable countries, stateless terrorists, and they're the people we can't be the world's policemen. We need them with us.
So what he's basically saying is a continuation of what's already been happening, right? Joe won't bring up the fact that we destabilize areas and then we say, oh, we need troops there to help stabilize it. Well, we sort of started this thing in the first place, right? Didn't we start this with Syria? Now it's destabilized, sort of, and now we need a troop present. We need troops there to stabilize the area. This continuous cycle, like this guy, clearly, if he's not a war criminal, he's trying to be one, I would think. He's like, give me my chance to do it. Let Obama do it. Now it's my turn. I want to continue these fucking wars. I want to continue destabilizing areas. I want to continue funding Al-Qaeda and ISIS in the Middle East. I want to continue destabilizing South America. Let me do it. It's my turn. And of course, he'll get a salary and security protection for the rest of his life for it.
So I think we need troops abroad, but in small numbers. And by the way,
Small troops abroad in small numbers. We know what this is, right? Even if they pull lower troop numbers in these areas, they'll increase, I don't know, like mercenary types or contractors, or hey, we'll just, prop up a proxy army by giving them money, giving them guns. They can act as our arm in the Middle East or wherever.
only had several hundred troops taking care of all those Kurds, and 11,000 of them died fighting ISIS and winning, and we abandoned them. Do you see the looks of those soldiers when they were coming out in those tanks and those up-armored Humvees?
Assad and Russia were also fighting ISIS. In fact, they were kind of wiping them out. Not saying that's a good thing, just saying that's what seems to be happening according to the news I've heard. And yet, you and Obama and that administration were propping up the rebel forces there, the moderate rebel forces. Yeah, they don't care to get rid of ISIS. As I just heard on Last American Vagabond, apparently U.S. arms sales have gone up 13%. You think those numbers are going to go back down? Fuck, man.
People are standing there saying, help me, help me. And you could tell, you could see in their faces how they felt so badly that they were leaving. And look what's happened. Who's going to try?
That's right. The world is begging for us to stay in their countries. Oh, wait. The Kurds don't have a country. They want to annex territory in Syria. That's why they want the U.S. around. Like, you guys are really good at destabilizing areas, and we can, pick up the scraps here. I mean, you guys are good at this, so stick around, and then we can take our little chunk out of northern Syria and call it Kurdistan. And like I said, the audience probably has no fucking clue about foreign policy. The audience watching on TV, no fucking clue about foreign policy at all. Yet, he's still saying enough in words like, what? Does that make sense? Does any of this make sense, really? It's like, okay, you need the Kurd story in order for this to make sense of why you would stay in northern Syria. But why were we in Syria in the first place? Oh, the chemical weapons thing. How come they're not talking about that anymore? Now we have to stay for the Kurds. But I thought it was... I'm confused. Very confusing. That just takes a minimal amount of critical thinking.
Trust us.
You're alluding to, obviously, your criticism of the president's decision to pull troops out of northern Syria, but also...
Only reason he'll bring it up. If Obama did it, he wouldn't bring it up. That's blatantly a snake. No offense to snakes.
I think in your answer, you touched on you don't want endless wars. You've talked about not wanting that. So when you look around the world right...
And you were vice president for 8 years, Joe. You don't want endless wars? Why'd you start new ones? You were the vice president. You couldn't get a phone call with Obama and say, hey, pal. Listen, folks. What are you doing over there? Why are we starting new wars? It's just become a tagline. Like Medicare for All has become a tagline. Instead of it being a real thing, like a real policy someone stands behind, it's now a brand. So, endless wars is now a brand. Medicare for All is a brand name now. It's not an actual policy. It's not okay, how do we actually stop, these endless wars? How do we actually stop it? That's not the thing. All you have to do is say, I don't want endless wars, without explaining it at all, without explaining your role in it, without explaining other people's roles in it. You just say it. It's a brand name. You could just say, I'm for Medicare for All. You don't have to explain how it would work or anything like that, or say, I agree exactly with Bernie's bill. With Bernie Sanders' exact bill, I agree with that. You don't have to say that. You could just use the brand name.
Right now, Mr. Vice President, we currently have 200,000 service members stationed around the world in that area that you were mentioning, the Mediterranean.
200,000 troops around the world.
The Middle East, 63,000 troops in the Middle East alone.
63,000 just in the Middle East. I'm sorry for pausing, but come on, think about that. And what kind of prosperity have we brought to the Middle East? Seriously.
So where would you look first to start bringing them home?
Let me make a clarification. We don't need large numbers of combat troops conducting wars in...
Okay. We don't need combat troops. We need people stationed all around the world. We need bases. We need to... in order for us to have bases in countries like Syria, we'd have to... Because they probably wouldn't just let us do that, or Iraq, or any of these places. In order to have that, to have our bases there, to make sure everyone's safe, we have to destroy the countries first. We have to destabilize them. And as these countries are scrambling to put themselves back together, we can start setting up shop in certain places. That keeps everyone safe. So there is the equation to get to the right answer. There it is. You destabilize, you destroy. In the midst of a scramble, you set up a camp, you set up shop, and then you stay there forever. And then the place is safer. That makes complete sense. It's not that, we made it unsafe in the first place. No, that's not. It's just, sometimes you gotta, take a little off to put something back on. You have to get rid of safety in order to get safety. Don't you know that? Doesn't that make complete sense to you? All right, that's all I need to hear, really. That's it for me. Please subscribe if you like. Comment, agree, disagree. I can't see an actual human voting for this person unless they are completely ignorant and just go based off of, I don't know, nostalgia. Maybe Obama nostalgia or old-fashioned nostalgia. Or they just want to feel like they're different. I think that of Ben Shapiro sometimes. I just want to be different. And everyone seems to say, fuck, they lied us into Iraq. So I'm going to be different and say, they made a mistake. And we should have went into Iraq anyways. They just did it, not the best way. But we still should have went in. Protect Israel. Nah. I really don't. It's hard to understand people. Like, it seems like it would take, if there was a person who really supported Joe Biden, it'd probably take about 2 to 3 minutes to just dismantle anything that makes him look good, or anything that would be in favor of Joe Biden, or that would any of Joe Biden's ideas that he thinks would help the country. It seemed like they could be dismantled in like 2 to 3 minutes, tops. It just seems that way. Don't forget to donate. Devon's Journey to Recovery GoFundMe link in the description box. And with all that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in, and then you wanna get out. When you get the money to buy yourself a car.